Madam Speaker, Honourable Acting Prime Minister, Honourable Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Ministers, and Honourable Members of Parliament. Madam Speaker, I rise to respond to His Excellency the President's address at the opening of the 2017-2018 session of Parliament. His Excellency's address has highlighted the progress we have made as a nation. Madam Speaker, I join His Excellency the President in commendation towards the nation's Constitution of 2013 and the high sound ideals consisted within. The approach toward government reform in all aspects is evident of the vibrant focus that our Constitution steers the nation and informed governance. His Excellency the President also expressed onward to mention that next year's general elections will be the second election under this Constitution. This is indeed significant, as this second election is the first for a government under this Constitution and will attempt to uphold a further tenure in office. And let me just, Honourable Madam Speaker, let me just remind my friends, the Honourable members from the other side of the House, that the very fact that we are here in this House, it's because of the 2013 Constitution. Some were criticizing the 2013 Constitution yesterday. They are here because of the 2000 Constitution. If they don't like the Constitution, they should go out of this House. And I hope if they continue to dislike this Constitution, they don't stand for election next year. Yeah.
Order. Order. Order.
Madam Speaker.
How many times do you want me to say order? Please, we need to hear the Honourable Ratu Inoke Kumbo-Ombolo.
It hurts to hear the truth, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, rightly so, the past few years in office has provided for the government of the day to gauge delivery and forecast the future. And I take this opportunity to inform this august House that the Ministry, through the assigned disciplinary forces, is prepared leading up to the general elections of 2018, and in the events following, to ensure that not only is stability imperative, but that the elections are run safely and transparently. I wish to applaud the Fijian Elections Office for an impeccable service in the 2014 general elections, earning them superb international recognition. And I look forward to seeing the Fiji Elections Office do even better next year. The Ministry will do our part to preserve law and order and keep the Fijian people secure in the lead up to the elections. Madam Speaker, in my response this time last year, I pledged to work with my fellow honourable members of Parliament to make our communities safer for women and children so they can live lives of dignity without fear of gender-based violence, child neglect, and child physical and sexual abuse, to make our communities safer for home and business owners, to build the capacity of our authorities through appropriate training and acquisition of proper and up-to-date equipment, and lastly, to strengthen our borders against human and drug traffickers, money launderers, and terrorists. Madam Speaker, we made progress in meeting these pledges through various legislations that the Ministry has committed to review, namely the Security Industry Act and the Fiji Police Act. The review of the Security Industry Act 2010 is well underway, and the Ministry has held numerous consultations with the legislative arms. The Ministry, through the Act, intends to work closely with stakeholders to improve on the processes and regularize the necessary areas to govern the security industry properly. Madam Speaker, the review of the Fiji Police Act is progressing through continued consultations with relevant stakeholders, with a view to present a final draft to the Office of the Solicitor General by the end of this year. In line with the Fiji Police Forces Modernization Project, it has embarked on institutional restructure that will strengthen its capability to curb multifaceted and transborder crimes by making the force more capable of meeting 21st century challenges. Madam Speaker, the Ministry, through the Fiji Police, is building mechanisms to deal with substance abuse and areas of anti-doping. Through various international bilateral engagements, the Ministry seeks to step up the campaign against transnational crimes such as narcotics. Locally, there are ongoing initiatives for the reviewing of the Illicit Drug Act to enhance empowerment to the Fiji Police forensic chemistry. The Ministry will host a two-day workshop on narcotics towards the end of this month. And Madam Speaker, His Excellency the President, in his statement, mentioned the unprecedented progress in our nation's development and economic growth. And I'd like to highlight the importance of the Ministry and the institutions assigned under the Ministry, the Republic of the Fiji Military Forces and the Fiji Police, have for the Fijian economy and the prosperity of every Fijian. Because without security, there can be no economic growth, no development, and no bright future for the Fijian people. The RFMF and the Fiji Police Force are both major sources of employment for our people, and we are embarking on another recruitment drive this year. The recruitment policies of both forces support the goal and gender mainstreaming as mandated by the UN requirements. His Excellency the President spoke on this government's commitment to gender equality and on its campaign to end sexual and domestic violence. The Ministry fully supports that campaign. I still hold great confidence in community policing through the Nduabata Community Policing Program. This program is dependent upon public support of police actions. The creation of partnerships between law enforcement agencies like the police and community organizations has a marked effect on public engagement and works to create a deeper and more effective partnership between the public and the police. Inherent in this interactive partnership is the acknowledgement that preventing crime is not only the responsibility of the police, but is rather an obligation shared with every Fijian. Madam Speaker, I have been fortunate to tour the nation, visiting the various divisions to gauge the needs of our police officers. And during these tours, I was able to correspond with the various crime communities and municipal commerce commercial council boards and determine the situations faced by our officers on the ground. The Ministry was able to plan out more specific areas to contest crime in many facets. But the area of community policing has been a proven workable plan when intense commitment is rendered towards the program. Madam Speaker, the introduction of a national crime board is envisaged to complement the Nduabata community policing at the grassroots level. The board will comprise of various sectors, including faith-based organizations, civil society, NGOs, and others, and to support its critical role as an advisory body to government through the minister responsible on recommended policies, initiatives, and best practices as part of our effort to reduce crime nationwide. Madam Speaker, I wish to again acknowledge the support of the government and defense forces from Australia, China, France, India, Indonesia, New Zealand, United States of America, and all other countries, organizations, and individuals who tirelessly assisted our nation following the aftermath of Tropical Cyclone Winston in February of last year. Again, I'd like to acknowledge and celebrate the resilience of our people in the aftermath of TC Winston. The Fijian people have shown unity and they have showed love toward one another as fellow countrymen in the shadow of devastation. Yes, the rebuilding process is long, but we always knew that it would be the case. We are making gradual progress to rebuild our nation to a higher standard, more capable of withstanding the ravages of climate change. Because His Excellency the President stated, it is better to maintain a steady pace to resilience and security, end of quote. And I strongly endorse, as it also applies directly to the work of my ministry. The national security strategy headed by the ministry is paced to its final stages through this fiscal year, 2017-2018. The NSS, which was principally endorsed by the National Security Defense Council and Cabinet in April and May 2016, is planned through its endorsed concept of operations. The NSS Secretariat is to be operational and effectively functioning by June 2018. In preparing for June 2018, the NSS work plan focuses on internal strengthening and consolidation of resources within the ministry. And I wish to revisit, Madam Speaker, Fiji's presidency of the General Assembly through Ambassador Peter Thompson and the upward cadence to Fiji's leadership of COP23 by our Honourable Prime Minister. A major reason we have assumed such pivotal leadership roles on the global stage is because we have earned a stellar reputation abroad through our Fijian peacekeepers and disciplined forces. Yes. Madam Speaker, the national security landscape and indeed the global security environment is dynamic and has become unpredictable at best, as criminal elements use ever-evolving technologies to advance their evil interests and purposes. As part of the reforms, we will work to ensure that our Fiji Police Force and the Republic of the Fiji military forces are doing everything possible to keep the Fijian people safe and meet our international obligations, with our ultimate goal being that both forces are looked to by every Fijian as steadfast protectors of their communities and of the progress that we are all making for Fiji. Madam Speaker, the Fiji Police Force is being challenged with the task of tackling new and multifaceted crimes that transcend national borders and invade the privacy of our citizens through social media. This calls for an adequately resourced police force, particularly in the area of information technology. The Ministry is planning a cyber security workshop during the fiscal year to clamp down on any avenue that leaves our nation vulnerable to cybercrime. Madam Speaker, our commitment to the Republic of the Fiji Military Forces cadetship program in schools will continue, given the tremendous good we have achieved in instilling students with discipline, responsible citizenry, and leadership ability. The Ministry is also seeking to improve Fiji's visibility by engaging with bilateral partners to enhance our peacekeeping contingent-owned equipment, the purchasing of the 10 Bushmaster Personnel Mobility Vehicles, or PMVs, from Australia, and the deployment of the 7 to the UNDOF mission has certainly reinforced our peacekeeping capacity and help us meet the pledges announced by our Honourable Prime Minister in New York in November 2015. The plans for the RFMF Black Rock Complex in Batu Levu Nadi stages currently as a peacekeeping training purpose for pre-deployment looks to primarily serve in the humanitarian context of a Humanitarian Assistance and Relief Center, HADR. The complex will aim to train and react to HADR issues when required and activated. Madam Speaker, in the last fiscal year, the Ministry has engaged with religious and faith-based communities and organizations, community leaders, businesses, and NGOs to work in various facets relevant to building a safer, secure, and prosperous Fiji. That commitment to engagement at every level of our society will continue, because at the end of the day, all the work we do is to bring security and stability into the lives of our people, and it is critical we bring their voices to the forefront of our campaign across Fiji. Madam Speaker, in closing, I will continue to pay tribute. Madam Speaker, in closing, I wish to pay tribute and acknowledge the efforts of our peacekeepers from the disciplined forces, the RFMF, the Fiji Police Force, and the Fiji Corrections Service deployed overseas. Their impeccable service only increases our footprint on the global stage as reputable, responsible member state of the United Nations. I would also like to thank their families for their great support and diligent sacrifice. I wish to conclude, Madam Speaker, in reiterating His Excellencies to leave aside petty squabbles, rivalries, divisions, and grandstanding for personal and political gain. We all look forward to Fiji's leadership internationally again with the headship of the COP23 that lies with our Honourable Prime Minister and deliver justly in this opportunity given our responsibility not only to our people, but also to our region. And I wish to thank His Excellency, Madam Speaker, for his endowed statement in his opening address last week, and look forward to this new session of Parliament. All eyes are indeed on Fiji. May God bless you all. And thank you.